Hello everybody, this is Blue Latte speaking, and for those of you who know me from social media might also know me as Aoi. And today is another different video from what we've seen before, which is the things that I actually do frequently on my social media, which is digital illustration. And specifically for this video, we'll be taking a look at how I draw Yunjin from Genshin Impact. And since this is a commentary video, I'll also explain some things I did here if you're actually confused of what is going on in the video, or how do you do this, how do you do that, that sort of thing. I will definitely tell about it. And I'll also leave some random thoughts along the way, so sorry if I mess things up. I mean, this is the first commentary video for a fan art, I guess, or a time lapse if you want to call it. And yeah, so let's begin with what you're seeing here right now. I actually start sketching the character, and you might not see it, but I actually start with some guidelines here. So after drawing the guidelines, I kind of get what I want to draw, what pose I want to make, and then I start drawing facial features, the eyes, all the way to the detailed attributes that she has. And this might actually take a while in this video, so I think I'll just keep my mouth shut at this point until we get to the next step. And then when I'm done with that, I think I should be drawing the line art now, anytime soon, but I believe we're not really there yet, so let's take a look at some other stuff that I'm drawing here, which is, yeah, I'm still working on the attributes, as you can see. I mean, sure, Genshin Impact characters, the one thing that I notice is that the way they're drawn, the way they're designed, if you look at her hairstyle, her facial feature, they're pretty simplistic, right? But when you start looking at her attributes, her clothing, all that stuff, it starts to give you an impression that this is going to be a difficult character to draw, especially for fan arts like this, for bust-up angles, or for full illustrations that have backgrounds and stuff. It's going to be hard. But luckily for me, I have some workarounds here, which I'll show you in a minute, or at least a couple of minutes, and that is the thing that I started doing recently as a trick. So you might want to stay tuned for that. But now you can see here that I start lining the character here. I started from the hair, started from the outer lines, which is the contour line art. If you don't know what that means, it basically is, again, the outer line art that you see on the canvas. One thing that I want to point out here is that since I said this is a very difficult character to draw with her attributes, I kinda have a trick to bypass that, and it's by actually not lining most of her attributes. I mean, sure, I did line some part of her clothing right here, as you can see, but some small attributes that are very detailed, I leave them as they are. And when we're done with the line art, I start switching to a painting method. which I'll show you in a minute. Now we start making the base color here, using the magic wand, and then coloring the hair, coloring the skin. And when we're done with that, we're supposed to be coloring the other parts, which is the hat. You don't need to overthink about base colors for each of these objects, really. You just need to start from the very base colors of these objects, like the hat. I start from purple, and then I started handling the elephant in the room right here, which is her puffy balls on her head or something. I don't know what to call them. I start drawing the pattern as well. Yeah, they're pretty hard. I know, but we'll get there. We'll actually watch how I bypass this problem. And this is how I do it. Now, as you can see, her hat on the back side of it actually has some more attributes in there. I don't know what to call them again. I'm actually sad that I have a very small vocabulary here, but anyway, the way I'm making these attributes is that I just color it like painting something, and I leave those things as they are for a while until we get to the shading part, which is the fun part. Don't get me wrong though, it is kind of fun doing this instead of lining them, but for those of you who actually want to try it, I kind of recommend to actually get the hang of it first. You might be disappointed that it doesn't look really good as you imagined it, but it's probably because you're not really used to it. You're still used to how you line things, and you just need more time, basically. Just like I do. You know, sometimes we just need to get out of our comfort zone and try to experiment things with this illustration, learn about different things, you know, be it from the internet or a certain person, like an artist that you know. Anyways, we're getting out of topic here, but yeah, let's move on. I'll see you in the next step, okay? See you there. Now, as you can see here, anyway, is the part where I start shading everything. Everything from hair to skin. I actually start from hair here, which is what I really liked when it comes to shading. I also think it's a good time to shade the paintings that I made without the line art, which kind of look really good in the end. I'm actually satisfied with the results. And then we continue shading the hair again, and start shading other things as well, such as the hat, the attributes. Now you can kind of see that the paintings are going somewhere, at least. It's having more detail than before. I also add some missing parts from her, like the makeup that she has. And then I continue shading the skin here, which I know you're probably looking at it and it feels kind of off with the color. But don't worry about that. I believe I'll start changing the color as soon as we're done shading other things here. And it's pretty simple. You just kind of need to slide the hue a bit to a very warm color for the skin especially, and you're done from there. Okay, that's for shading, I believe, and then I start to continue drawing the eye, the details of our eyes here, adding pupils, adding highlights, you know, coloring the highlights, adding some more detail for that. Some fancy decorations there. And adding some soft light and hard light just to bring it more depth. And from here, this is the interesting part as well. I actually went back to the shading where I add some subtle shading there. You might not notice it at first, but it's actually there. A little bit dark. And then I start adding highlights, especially on the hair. Also start adding highlights to other objects as well. You don't even really need to think too much about the highlights, honestly. Just add a simple color like purple. And then you also wanna add some reflected light in there, in the back of her hair. And then once we're done with that, we kind of add some finishing touch like an airbrush to make it look a little bit fancier. And then when we're done with that, we can finally begin the best part of this the best part of this illustration, which is making backgrounds. When we're done with this, now as you can see, I started making some unique finishing touch for overall appearance on this canvas and add some decorations here and there, especially the lines there, adding a circle, square, all the patterns that you can make, adding gradient, and also making color corrections, which is color balance, tone curve, all that kind of stuff, just to control the balance of the contrast, brightness, and the colors overall, adding textures, and adding gradient map to make it look more colorful. And when you're done with that, you can also give her a Chromatic Aberration. It's a special effects that makes the image looks a little bit distorted, but in a good way, of course. So I'm gonna add it right now and see if it works. Kinda wanna be a little bit careful when it comes to effects like this, but there you go. You kinda see it there, which I feel like I didn't feel satisfied at first, so I kinda changed how it looks there. I kinda changed the style to it. But there you go. That's the Yunjin fan art that I made. I'm kinda satisfied, even though it's a 2-hour drawing, but I'll take what I can get. I didn't have time to modify anything from there, but I managed to make it at least the one that has the least problems among all my other fan arts there. That's about what I wanted to show you about my drawing. If you want to actually look at my other fan arts that I have or other drawings that I have, you can definitely check them out at my social media, links down below. If you have any thoughts, again, leave them in the comments. And as always, subscribe to the channel if you haven't, and see you next time.